how to turn this into this. One thing I've noticed with all my world travels, this country is very expensive. Australia is very expensive, in particular the produce. And I can go to my local store, buy 6 tomatoes, and it costs me $25. I mean, those prices are ridiculous. And the tomatoes, they're not even good quality. They're yellow. They need still a week or so to develop into a ripe redness. They're grown in a big commercial cropping industry. And I decided to take matters into my own hands. So this year I invested in a polytunnel, which you can see here, for a few $100. And I thought, right, I'm sick of paying like enormous prices for, I thought to myself, I am sick and tired of paying enormous prices for produce when, with a little bit of time and patience, I can actually grow my own, which is 1,000 times better, 100 more times variety, and I am saving money. I don't have to spend money on my produce. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So this is what this polytunnel is for. And it is full of tomato bushes. And I haven't bought them. I haven't bought these tomato bushes. I've actually bought seeds online. So I would estimate I've probably spent $30 on about 10 to 12 different tomato varieties. And what I've done is germinated them from seed, and I'll explain how I've done that in a different video. Excuse me, in a different video. And once they've become, 1 to 2 inches in size in the punnets or in the growing trays, I then have transplanted them out here in the polytunnel. And let me tell you, the soil before I did this was terrible. So what I did was lay some cardboard down, then I topped it with some hay, some pea straw or hay, and then I'm lucky enough to have some friends that have a property with a lot of sheep poo, a lot of horse poo, and they just had a pile of old soil that I got a trailer load of, and I've just dumped it on top of the straw and the cardboard to create the start of good soil. So building good soil. And so this polytunnel, I would say, has about 40 to 50. It's going to have, right now there's probably about 30 tomato bushes in the ground. It's probably going to end up being about 50. So it's going to be a lot. And not only that, I've got melons in here as well, because our melons and watermelons, because our melons in this part of the world are super duper expensive as well. And I consume a lot of both on a daily basis, and I just got sick of paying that amount of money. Where I know in other parts of the world, particularly in the Middle East, produce is so much cheaper. So much cheaper. There's no way you'd be paying $25 for 6 tomatoes. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I paid it. And not only that, I will go into a store like this is a usual day, and I'll come out with a watermelon, a melon, some tomatoes, and that's $65 to $85 right there. Ridiculous prices, but that's the world we live in. So I took matters into my own hands, and I now have all these tomato bushes. So I'm going to come back in a couple of months, and I'm going to show you how things are looking in here. I'm trying to be healthy in my older age, and I spend a small fortune on melons, watermelons, tomatoes and celery, cucumbers. I live in the bush, I live in the outback, and this kind of produce is pretty expensive. So why not try growing it yourself, right? And save yourself money and and you learn things along the way. It just gives you such an appreciation for growing your own produce, and I love it. I'm just glad that all these seedlings have all come up now, and it's just a matter of them being put in the ground and then nurturing them, staking them. Well, the hothouse is, you know, growing along now, and in amongst these sweet peas from the hay, I guess it's pea straw, but you can see the peas have come up, and I've just let them come up because I think that's good for the soil. They are most likely nitrogen fixers. And all these are baby tomatoes. Not sure of the variety. I wasn't too fussed with that because my main goal was to just get them going in the ground. And I thought once they germinate and once they grow and once they bear fruit, I can actually work out what tomato is what. So I would estimate I have, gosh, maybe 40 tomato bushes in here. I have cucumbers, I have melons, and I have watermelons. It's going to be really jammed in here once everything starts growing, but I'm going to do my best at keeping everything organized. So everything has sunlight, everything has moisture, and everything is happy. We've got a couple of, I think these are chili bushes in here as well, which is fine. So this whole area is going to be full of tomatoes and cucumbers because we're in winter here in the Southern Hemisphere, and I really want to save money on tomatoes, and nothing beats, truly nothing beats homegrown produce, particularly tomatoes when they're, you know, really grown in good soil and they're happy. Nothing beats a fresh, sweet, tasty, beautiful, flavorsome tomato. And I am berserk for tomatoes. I've actually got celery in here because my whole goal was to put in foods and grow foods that I consume on the daily. And that is tomatoes, that is celery, that is melons. Greetings, gardening friends. Well, we've had a bit of a change in the hothouse because it's starting to get quite warm. I have had to remove this plastic back because you can see what's happening with the tomatoes. The leaves are curling. The leaves are not happy. To me, that's indicative of probably too much humidity coupled with too much heat. And so I have pulled back this hothouse here, and then I have now put up shade cloth. How effective this is going to work, I'm not sure, but it will be effective obviously in protecting the garden, especially in the really hot summer months. In fact, I may even put some more covering over in the summer. I've doubled up down here. But my main concern is the kangaroos, because kangaroos love green and they love to eat my garden. So we'll see. It's going to be a bit of a test, but so far the tomatoes, they're going okay. I have got some that have some beautiful fruits on them. Not sure what variety that is. And I leave the door open every day to let pollinators come in, but I have been hand pollinating. Tomatoes over this side haven't been doing as well. I'm not sure why that is, but it could be that I put bark chips down there and they don't like the bark chips. I don't know. But here's some more. But the biggest ones are down here. These are looking great. So we'll wait and see what happens come springtime. Melons didn't grow as big as I thought they would. They're obviously affected by the winter, but let's hope that they get invigorated now and make a comeback. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything goes. Here we are in the hothouse. Months later, and I'm glad to say there's finally some tomatoes that are almost ready for picking. I actually don't know the variety. I would if I actually looked at the packet, but my whole objective was just to get tomatoes growing on the bush out here. And I think it's been a success. A few trial and errors. Still, some of these tomato bushes aren't looking very good. It looks like there's some kind of a virus or fungus thing on this. Curly leaf. If anybody knows, let me know. I don't actually know what it is. But, I mean, it's still producing. This one has some tiny tomatoes. So it is producing. I have pollinated these with a paintbrush by hand, a lot of them. These are changing color. Different variety there. And we got a couple different varieties in there that are all changing color. They're definitely getting height now, which is nice. So, I'm looking forward to eating these. I've been waiting for months and months. This side is slowly picking up, but certainly not as productive as the other side. These were put in later, but still, I actually put bark chips on the base under this instead of cardboard like I did over here. So, kind of shows you that the bark chips, tomatoes don't really like it. But they are still growing, just a bit slow. And I've just been twisting them up. And lots of cilantro, which is already gone to seed here. A radish that just popped up randomly. I've been letting that come to seed, but the flies love pollinating that. So yeah, you can see these are really kind of spindly. So it's been a real experiment. I'll come out here and water. I've had to water probably every second day. Take the side shoots off so the growth can be focused on the center stem. Flies are really friendly. And when summer hits, I'll be covering this shade cloth with another 2 or 3 covers because we have just consecutive days of 40 degrees Celsius continually for weeks. Summer is a drag here. Makes me pretty bitter. Brittle. Brittle's the word, not bitter. I'm not bitter about it, but I'm certainly brittle. I notice that my patience wears thin in summer. As a gardener, all you want to do is be out in your garden, but in the summer, it's so hard to be. These little tomatoes were actually grown from a tomato don't know what that is, grown from a tomato that I ate. And I loved it so much. I just put it on some paper towel and voila, it's come up in the garden now, which is great.